Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back your lovely faces to a brand new video here on the channel. Well, we got some exciting, funny, and I suppose that we can also call it what kind of news. And obviously you've seen a thumbnail, you've seen a title. We are talking about Amber and just some things that she's recently done. First of all, we're going to look at the no jurisdiction, and in the next video we are going to be talking about Twitter. But we are going to start with, like I said, the jurisdiction. So, AH's lawyers are trying to halt depositions in a civil dispute between two insurance companies fighting over their financial liability for the $10 million she owed Johnny Depp. A new filing on Monday says that her lawyers don't want the case to proceed while she's appealing the $10 million verdict that a jury in June ordered her to pay Depp for defamation, saying the continued prosecution of these actions is prejudicial to AH's defense. Claims involving the New York Marine and General Insurance Company's duty to indemnify a judgment are not ripe unless and until there is a final judgment in the Depp lawsuit, the filing has said. The lawyers, who include Kayla Robinson of Pash LLP in LA, she says that AH wasn't living in the United States when New York Marine sued her, and she still isn't. Therefore, this court lacks jurisdiction. And with that, I'm just like, what is going on? And it's kind of interesting because, you know, Tug, myself, we all said it wouldn't surprise us if she leaves the States. What has she done? She's left the States. We also said that wouldn't surprise if she sells her little hideaway home. There we go, like a month later, it's in the news. It's happened. There's so much stuff currently going on with all of this. It really does make people laugh. Because when you think of it, she's gone on and she's like, well, I don't live there. You know, they have no jurisdiction. They can't do this to me. But you are. You know, we don't know when this exact thing was mentioned or whatever. And, you know, like they could have been like, as soon as June the 1st hit and the verdict was read out, they're like, right, we're suing her. It could have been there and then. Because the lawyer or the person for the homeowner's insurance was there in the court. But, you know, it does go on. Her new lawyers said they may move for a protective order to thwart depositions that New York Marine lawyers want to conduct. The lawyers who represented AH in Depp's lawsuit and her countersuit. With that there, we heard about a month and a half to 2 months ago that Elaine, the lawyer who represented Amber in the Johnny Depp case, she lawyered up herself. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. They also want a hearing scheduled for November 3rd to be rescheduled to December 1st. Again, November 2nd is today, November 3rd is tomorrow. Hearing by notifying counsel they can appear for it. U.S. District Judge George H. Wu in L.A. appeared to reiterate the November 3rd hearing by notifying counsel they can appear for it by telephone, but he later rescheduled it to November 21st after granting AH's request for additional time to respond to the complaint. New York Marine lawyers, meanwhile, are questioning whether she truly wasn't a United States resident when they sued her, saying they've received no evidence showing so. They also don't want their scheduled depositions to be delayed. Well, I wouldn't. Saying AH's lawyers didn't mention the jurisdictional question they're now raising when the depositions were scheduled. Again, we've talked about this before. A lot of her lawyers, they seem to be literally the very last minute, we're going to throw this at them. They did it in the Johnny Depp case. They did it way before the trial even started. You know, we got it on the channel. You know, myself, Tug, Les, Stevie, Soups. We've all got the videos where we go over the documents and they're bringing up questions and they're bringing up all these things literally when they've had about a year to 2 years to get it sorted. But they don't do it because it is a delay tactic and it never works. Accordingly, New York Marine believes it is appropriate for the deposition scheduled in mid-November to proceed as currently scheduled. According to a scheduling report filed Monday by lawyers for AH, New York Marine and Travelers Commercial Insurance, Lawyers for Travelers don't oppose her estate request, but New York Marine lawyers want to proceed with only their claims regarding the company's duty to defend her, saying it's fine to do so because of the existing judgment. Now, the existing judgment, I did ask Linda about this myself, because the way in my brain, I was like, so if they're claiming this, obviously, is she going to try and pull something stupid with the appeal? But Linda was like, no, that's the judgment is done. They can't bring in new evidence. The appeal is completely different. So I was like, whew, thank God. That's because, so he does go on to say that Julie Defendus is fine to do so. That's because New York Marine is seeking a court order declaring that it doesn't have to pay her judgment, which will be relevant if the judgment is affirmed or otherwise not disturbed on appeal. The first lawsuit was initiated by Travelers against New York Marine, which is part of ProSite Specialty Group. Both are insurers who represented her, and Travelers is accusing New York Marine of trying to shirk its responsibility to reimburse Travelers for half of the attorney's fees, costs, and expenses of defending their mutual insured in the Depp case, which left Travelers bearing an inequitable portion of the defense. Again, we saw what was going on with this, and it does come out as well. It got say, like I said, right by here. So New York Marine has filed a counterclaim that argues it doesn't owe Travelers anything because the lawyer New York Marine wanted AH to use for the case, Cameron McAvoy, stopped representing her in November 2020 and wasn't involved in the trial. Remember, with that there, we did say, and we actually went over this, she was like, don't tell my those lawyers anything. Don't CC them in any emails. We don't want them involved. They're not going to be the ones who represent me. And she went, obviously, with, the Elaine and those kind of people. But with her doing that, that is breaching the contract. This is why they're going after her. New York Marine's complaint says the lawyers retained by AH and funded by Travelers refused to cooperate with Cameron and deliberately obstructed and prevented Cameron's involvement in the defense of the insured. In the second lawsuit, New York Marine is suing AH, seeking a court order that it isn't obligated to pay for her defense. Lawyers for Travelers called New York Marine's allegation provocative, which is not, because I just find that really funny, and its theory aggressive when asking Wu to consolidate the cases, warning that the legal issues in both cases will be fact-intensive, and ProSite has scheduled the court to try it twice. A 2007 George W. Bush appointee, don't know why they put that in there, Wu agreed to consolidate the cases for pretrial purposes on October 20, and this is coming from lawandcrime.com. It's interesting. It's very interesting to see that she would go out this way. It's almost like she's trying to be like, well, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I'm going to make sure everyone knows I no longer live in the United States. We know where she is. She's in Spain. She's in a little town in Mallorca somewhere, a little village. And it's interesting because, we've seen that there's a German news crew who miraculously just decided to turn up and find her, which is very interesting because why hasn't CNN? Why hasn't Fox News? Why hasn't BBC? Why hasn't any of the major news organizations gone over there to find her for an interview? Only this small little German thing did? That's because it was set up. She did that because you could tell by the way she's walking around and talking to the reporter. Oh, can we get an interview? Oh, no, I don't do interviews. Sorry, I'm with my child. Yeah, it was set up. But, you got that there, but she's over there. And if she's like, oh, well, she hasn't been a United States citizen, well, we've heard that she's been living in Spain for quite a few months. How many months is that? It makes you think now. It's like, so June the 1st is when the verdict was read out. And with Travelers and New York probably saw that straight away. So 1st of June, they were like, right, okay, we're going after her. So they have to think then and there, was she part of it? But it's more than likely when the files were actually put in and when it was, signed, sealed, and declared for it. So it's going to be interesting. But seeing that she's saying that they have no jurisdiction and they can't do anything, so she hasn't got to pay anything, that's just mind-blowing to me. If you are new to the channel, ladies and gentlemen, please like and subscribe, hit that notification bell for future updates, and I'll see you in the next one.